Cortana!
I talked about this in my previous video, but I guess it's worth mentioning again because it's relevant to the discussion. And that's that Nintendo sold 3.5 million units, making it not only the most successful Nintendo launch of all time, but the most successful console launch of all time. This is easily going to surpass the Switch 1 and quite possibly the PS2 in lifetime sales. So with stats like that, with success like that, which is unmatched, you'd figure there's no reason to concern over Nintendo's finances. There's no reason to concern over whether or not Nintendo's making money or making sales, right?
Wrong!
Well, at least if you're normal, but if you're a Nintendo fanboy, it's not enough. Every penny, every nickel, every dime, every quarter must be accounted for.
Yeah, money.
Woo! If there's a single screen someone's playing a Nintendo game on that doesn't have a Nintendo console under it, you are stealing, and Nintendo must be protected at all costs. What would they do without individuals like me?
I'm sorry. You have a right to be mad at me, but don't be mad at Nintendo. Nintendo loves you.
I kid you not, that's the mentality these guys have. Nintendo fanboys are something else. In spite of the success of the console, they are still envious, spiteful, and salty at what Steam Deck users are doing. I'm not even kidding, they're angry that in spite of 3.5 million Switch 2 sold, there's a handful of people who decided to go with the Steam Deck instead to play Nintendo games, and these guys are losing their minds instead of their virginity. I can already picture it in my head as they stare at their phone screen, furiously shaking, picking up their little Isabelle amiibo and talking to it. Look at what these guys are doing to our Nintendo games, Isabelle. The reason I mention this is because at any time you see PC gamers or Steam Deck users emulating PlayStation titles or Xbox titles, you don't see an onslaught of angry PlayStation or Xbox fanboys spurging out in the comments section, saying illegal, tagging the FBI, or trying to shut down your ROM site. It only happens when it involves Nintendo guys, and I always wonder why that is. It's because they're mentally stunted, neurodivergent people. And well, I'm on a mission to prove that, and if it's worth anything to you, then consider giving a subscribe now so we can reach 100K, so I can give you that face reveal with my silver black button. Yes, dressed in a poncho and sombrero in front of Home Depot. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it all started when this user, Dashot, or Dashot, whatever, posted footage of himself emulating Super Mario Bros. Wonder on his Steam Deck, and you'd figure most people would be like, neat, that's pretty cool. But Twitter is a breeding ground for Nintendrones. These guys don't have to physically fuck to reproduce. They literally pop into existence the minute they see things like this. Science still can't figure it out.
I truly don't understand the point of this. Instead of supporting games you obviously want to play, you steal them! Are all Steam Deck owners this dense? Like, this isn't a flex. It's ridiculously ignorant and a bit childish.
Shut up, bitch.
Oh, a Nintendo fanboy calling anyone or anything childish. Oh my god, you can't be for real right now. You're literally playing on a device designed for children and games designed for children. It's insane to call Steam Deck owners ignorant. No, I'll tell you what's ignorant. Paying $80 for Mario Kart World. Steam Deck owners are not stupid. They know Nintendo's made their money off of morons like you. They don't have to pay. Why should they? You're the ones making Nintendo rich. It's on you. It's your choice to go out and purchase this thing and support the company. Other people like us Steam Deck users, we don't have to do that. Nonetheless, this is a stranger. For all you know, this could be a backed version of his copy of Super Mario Bros. Wonder on his Steam Deck emulated, which would not be illegal. Let's face it, the reason you're angry is because you are a die-hard fan of Nintendo and you want them to make all the money and all the profit and play by their rules because you're a little bitch.
No! Yeah.
You don't want people doing things that the billion-dollar corporation doesn't approve of. Believe me, Nintendo is not hurting whatsoever. There's like, what, 6 million Steam Deck users? This isn't even gonna leave a dent on Nintendo. This reaction is like when Griffin Gaming got mad that people didn't pay for Windows and called them broke because of it.
No, I'm not fucking poor, bro. Why the fuck would I leave Activate Windows
on the bottom of my computer. I'm not a fucking broke, disgusting, plebeian piece of shit. Are you?
Why these guys feel the need to take a bullet for Nintendo who never asked is beyond me. Just play your games, buy your console, mind your own business, and shut the fuck up. It doesn't concern you. It legitimately does not concern you unless you have stock in Nintendo.
All these broke bums want to do on Steam Deck is display how they play Nintendo games for free. What are you gonna do about it? Huh?
You're goddamn right. See, we bought a $450 device that can do it all. You bought a $450 device that can't do shit unless you pay the company more money for some of its basic utility. That's right, you paid $450 for the grand privilege of then paying $80 for games. We paid to emulate all that. Just because our purchasing decision was infinitely better than yours does not make us broke. Quite the contrary, actually. It makes us a lot more wise with our money. If you notice, Nintendo fanboys are never wise with money. These guys would pay up to $10,000 for a bag of Miyamoto's farts. It's hilarious how, in an attempt to make Steam Deck users look pathetic, he made us look based. Instead of sitting around waiting 7 years, scratching your ass, waiting for Nintendo to make a console that could finally play your 2017 games at 60 FPS, you could have gotten a Steam Deck, emulated what you already owned, and played at a higher fidelity, but instead you're gonna rebuy everything, and you're gonna pay for upgrades and updates because you're a pay pig. Your only purpose is to make the company money. That is your role in life. That is your purpose. That is how you will live and die. That's how you will be recognized as a number, another stat on a sheet. Because let me tell you one thing, this little defense for them that you're playing right now, they're never gonna recognize it. They're never gonna remember it. You know who will remember it? The people watching this video, and not for the reasons you want. I just noticed how god awful this console's button layout is. What is that? That right there is what comfort looks like, okay? Not a little flat Joy-Con with analog sticks that are guaranteed to drift in a couple of months. This is clearly the opinion of someone who's never actually held a Steam Deck. I have held a Switch 2 and a Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is infinitely more comfortable. Nintendo has learned nothing about comfort from the Switch 1. It's still a piece of shit. It still sucks to hold in your hands. It still requires an $85 controller to feel playable. Just because the buttons are positioned on the side where, you know, your thumb will naturally gravitate when it wants to hit one doesn't make it unnatural or bad. You can't knock it until you've tried it. And once you do, well, you know, going back to the Switch feels like going back to 30 FPS after being at 60 for so long. But you see what I mean? Nintendo fanboys have no clue what they're talking about. Nearly everybody who has a Steam Deck has tried a Switch, but the majority of Switch owners have never tried a Steam Deck, and they want to talk out of their ass. But I bet if they held one in their hands, I bet if they finally got to see what it's like to have proper hand grips or access to a touchpad, their opinion would shift immediately. It's interesting because in spite of getting 9-point-something thousand likes, everybody in his replies is disagreeing with him, which leads me to believe a lot of these Nintendrones have botted likes because they are very NPC-like. They have very bland opinions. Nintendo the best game developer, Nintendo saves gaming, blah, blah, you know, all those basic opinions that never consider all the other nuances or actual history to gaming because they think gaming began and ended with Nintendo. So they couldn't possibly imagine a different button layout. To them, it's unfathomable. What's even funnier is I've never once interacted with this person and they have me blocked, which says to me that they've probably watched the channel because why else would they have me blocked? The only time people like this block you is if your opinions hurt their feelings. This tweet is proof that ergonomics is something you figure out by touch and not by sight. But then again, this is a tweet from a Gen Zer. They don't know anything about gaming past the 3DS.
Do Steam Deck users even play any Steam games on it? Genuine question.
Is this person legitimately that stupid? What the hell do you think the touchpads are for? This thing was built to play everything, including PC games, especially PC games. As a matter of fact, the thing can play infinitely more games than the Switch 2 right now. And I'm talking way the fuck more. It's not even close. Emulation is just very popular on this device because it's Linux based and Steam created tools to make emulation even more streamlined for it. So that's why you see a lot of emulation. And mainly because it's also a mini desktop. They can play games off of Steam, they can play Xbox games, PlayStation games. emulate every single Nintendo game. They can do it all. That's the whole point of the device. How these guys don't care, and they don't focus on that unless it involves Nintendo, because that is the dear old precious corporation. That's the one that they give a free pass to. Everybody else gets ignored or ridiculed. But Nintendo must be protected. Nintendo's precious. How dare you emulate their games? Even though I just saw you emulating PlayStation games, but it's only a crime if you do it to Nintendo. In spite of 71,000 likes on such a stupid, ignorant post, this guy was getting bombarded with a bunch of comments ridiculing him. And so he went on his own little tangent in his own replies, ignoring everybody, creating his own little echo chamber.
Also, the Steam Deck is literally like $500. I'm pretty sure you can buy a Switch 2 with that money.
You could do that, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Why would anybody who has a Steam Deck want a Switch 2 exactly? Is my question. One can play infinitely more games and do infinitely more things. The other is a restricted tablet that only has Mario Kart World at launch. It makes no sense to rush to go get one. The Switch 2 library is just so limited and expensive, it would make no sense. Not to mention, both devices appeal to different types of audiences. The Steam Deck is aimed for a more niche audience, and the Switch 2 was meant to appeal to the masses and to the casual audience. People aren't buying these two systems for the same reasons, even though, on paper, they're both handhelds. But without question, one holds a lot more value for the price, and it is the Steam Deck.
Everyone I know in real life that has a Steam Deck has it just sitting on their desk collecting dust, when not even a month ago they were hyping it up and saying the Switch is just obsolete.
Funny, because that's what was going on with my Switch 1 when I had one years ago. It was just sitting under the TV, gathering dust. And no, I don't keep my Steam Deck by my desk. I keep my Steam Deck at my bed, because I play on it every night before I go to bed. Anyone saying that the Steam Deck was going to make the Switch 2 obsolete is a moron. It's a niche device. Nintendo is sold in mass retails. It's a mass-marketed device. It has brand recognition, and the Switch 1 was massively successful. There is no way Nintendo would have ever failed with the Switch 2. But it doesn't matter how much the Switch 2 sells. None of that takes away from the very fact that the Steam Deck can do more, has more games to play, and comes with more features. Hell, it even comes in a carrying case. Anyone I know who has a Steam Deck uses it a lot. Hell, when I look at my Steam friends, there's a couple of them who are playing on the Steam Deck actively all day. And Jesus Christ, I could just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and this person is still ass hurt about the Steam Deck. Oh, but here's one of my favorite ones. This one really takes the cake. Me walking past Switch 2 owners with my Steam Deck. I can actually play Nintendo games from older consoles.
Yeah! Imagine bragging about playing Super Mario 64!
I can't believe you actually gave birth to something like this!
No way! Ain't no way this motherfucker had the balls to say that. Ain't no way. Are you kidding me? These same guys who have to pay a subscription fee to play their old games? Not only that, but these are the same gullible ass motherfuckers who paid $60 fucking just to play Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy on their Nintendo Switch. Is he for real right now? And what's more, Nintendo gave you a limited run of this physical edition. They wouldn't even sell it to you long term. They only sold it to you for a limited run. So yes, people being able to play Super Mario 64 on the Steam Deck is a big deal, because you idiots were given this by Nintendo. Nintendo gave you shit. They gave you scraps, you dumb fuck. Not only that, but they also sold it for a limited time digitally, because this company said, fuck you. Don't like it? Go sub to our online service just to access Mario 64. And some of you idiots actually pay it. You're the idiot. And this dude's also acting like Mario 64 isn't the best 3D Mario, which it absolutely is. Hell, Nintendo knows this so much, they only sold it to you for a limited time because you guys are idiots. Stupid. Moron. You're trying to make him seem like an idiot when he's the one who doesn't have to pay and isn't getting screwed over by Nintendo in order just to have access to this basic ass game. Let's face it, the reason these guys get pissed off It's because there's a lot of truth to what Steam Deck users are saying, and they don't want to hear it because they're worried it will ruin their own enjoyment of the Switch too. All you have to do as a Steam Deck user is just state basic facts, and these guys lose it. Not only can we play Mario 64, but we can also play the DS version, which I prefer a bit. What's more is you're getting a better emulated experience unofficially on the Steam Deck than you're getting from Nintendo officially, which is insane. Like, you guys are suckers. How do you constantly just allow yourselves to get screwed over by this company so hard? They are actively trying to remove the better emulated versions and sell you the shit version. This is why people like the Steam Deck. That type of freedom is not afforded to you on a Nintendo device. In spite of that, it will still be the most popular console ever in history, most likely. So why does it bother you, and why does it matter what a couple of Steam Deck users are doing in their free time? I think I know why you care. Because you know it's better. You know they're not the ones paying. You know they're getting a better experience. And it upsets you because Nintendo doesn't have to provide it, and you know you'll still buy it. You hate yourself. Understandable. I would hate myself too. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. On the road to 100K. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video.
Free Congo sucks ass.